Any thoughts on the arts being ranked as number one non-essential job in Singapore? Oh, next! The one. Hi, my name is Hafiiz Karim. You may also know me as the next most famous artist on Instagram, and I'll be here to answer your questions. I'm a big fan of your work. Thank you. But there are people who claim that what you do is not real art. How do you respond to these naysayers? Well, to be honest, I don't really care. They're not paying me, so I don't really care. So you shouldn't care if anyone says otherwise. But art is super subjective, and if you're able to sort of defend it based on your own experiences, your intent, how it's affecting society, then I feel it's fine. I feel that my work is real art, and that's all that matters. Do you have any tips on building a good portfolio? This one I struggled with before. Before I was just doing like a plain resume, but then I realized that since I was leaning towards an art director, I decided to just create my own showreel where I was recording myself, adding a bit more animation, just to get a bit more of my personality inside there. And I think that's what's important because there's so many resumes going across like offices and you want yours to stand out. And if you're good at video editing, it helps. So whatever you do, play to your own strengths, and I think it will actually be of good use. Make sure I get a good question. Oh, good. Not a question. Just wanted to say I really love your designs and I think you're super unique. See, this is what I need. This is the validation I need to go on. Thank you. Are you ever scared that you offend someone or appropriate a culture through your art? Yes. This was one of the concerns I got when I was creating one of my works using Raja Ravi Varma's work from India. And I feel that when I'm doing something like that, I sort of have to educate them. I think my job using these artworks is to actually make sure that I should show them the actual artwork, where it's from, the title, artist, and the meaning of behind the work, and not just about my collage. That way, the work actually will introduce them to get them to know more about art histories. I guess I'm quite sensitive to that as well. As a creative, sometimes I don't have the drive and creative juices to come up with ideas. It's so draining and I'm scared I'll lose my passion. How to keep going, leh? I like this person. It's definitely draining, and when you're in an industry that forces you to be creative, you really have to go on. Sometimes there's no excuse to not come up with an idea because you get paid for that. I feel that it's good to actually look for inspiration and look at what other artists are doing or what other creatives are doing, because everyone's inspired by everyone. And from there, you can come up with your own take on a specific idea. It's all about talking to people, bouncing ideas of other people. So it's good to have friends. Don't be too afraid to experiment something new because you might actually learn something. What's your favorite piece of artwork that you've made and why? There's so many. You know, I've created 180 works from my visitors of Singapore. My favorite work, I think, would be Monday Blues, the one with Flaming June, the lady in the Flaming June painting at the back of the bus, because I feel it speaks to me the most every Monday morning. And I don't know, I feel the colors are vibrant, everything feels so nicely in the composition. My next most favorite artwork is actually the Drink Stall Auntie, only because it's one of the more popular works, and I just love the way that the figure is there and it's posing. So proud of her. And also the background story of the Drink Stall Auntie, basically, because based on the memory of a Drink Stall Auntie that used to call me Shuaika, I feel that I want to honor her as well. You're known for taking classic artworks and putting a modern twist into it. Why did you choose this art direction? This actually started out during my introductory lesson in art history during my master's in LaSalle. So it was a boring class, sorry professor. When we going through all these slides of all these classical figures, and then it just occurred to me, you know what, these people may be from a different time, from a different culture, but somehow they are still human beings who have the same desires, fears, insecurities. So I was doing like a mental Photoshop in my head while I was going through these pictures and what would they do in the modern time today. So from there, it just started. And I started experimenting with what they will do. Vermeers, the girl with a pearl earring, looks like I did one with a tweed peace sign. That was fun. So it's all about just making something unique. Becoming an artist in Singapore is one of the most challenging career paths to take. Correct. How do you stand out from other creators? I think that's why I call myself the next most famous artist, because before that, I would Google my name and I get images I don't want associated to me. So that's why I wanted to be the most famous artist, and since I can't be the most famous artist, since it's out there, I want to be the next most famous artist. So it's all about branding, how you actually sell yourself. You have to convince other people why your art is important. Any thoughts on the arts being ranked as #1 non-essential job in Singapore? Oh, next! The one. Non-essential. I think at this point of time, art is the most essential thing in life anyway. I mean, it's like everyone needs it. It's a part of our everyday life anyway. So it's not essential. It's like there. You don't just ignore it, you know? No. Do you have any advice for freelance artists who are just starting out? What are the things they should take note of in the industry? I think as a freelance artist, right, you need to know the price points. I feel like you need to know where you stand in the industry. And since you are the one making the choices of how much your work costs, you need to do your own research on other services and make sure that you are not overselling or underselling yourself. For just people who are starting out as well, it's good to have like extra skills to make sure, because you never know what people may like. You know, you don't just be fixated in one skill. Even if you're good at it, it's good to actually have tell your clients, hey, I can do this as well if you may be interested in that. I want to be a graphic designer, but Adobe is so expensive leh. How to be a designer like that? I know. Yeah, Adobe is super expensive, but it's definitely worth the investment because a lot of industries use Adobe as a creative platform. I think Adobe also have some special plans for if you're a student or something, so maybe you should just check it out just in case. Last question! As an artist, what's the most rewarding part of your career? This is like Miss Universe answer like that. I think the rewarding part for me is the way my audience is interacting with my work. And I say that because on Instagram, there's this resharing culture, right? When I see my followers reshare the post and then tell their own stories related to the work I created, then it feels like I'm doing my job as an artist because it's not my work anymore. It started with me, but then it goes out to the world for other narratives to come up, other stories to appear, because it's not just about my story. So I like that I get to hear more about what they are going through and how my work makes them feel. I guess that's like the best thing, because you're affecting people. The main advice I would tell my younger self would be to not think about what other people would think of me. I think that's quite damaging for the soul, and it's important that whatever you do it because you love to do it. And I feel that another important thing I would tell is to just not be afraid, because I feel fear holds you back a lot. And I feel that if someone told me to just, you're okay for who you are, that would just change my life. The main advice is actually doing your research on the platforms that you want to, on your target audience as well. If you're doing digital art and NFTs, you have to know which social platforms the buyers are at. I think another advice is not to follow trends too much, because trends die out. The important part is that you have to make sure that your voice is clear, your artistic voice is clear, so that people will understand the story, the narrative you're trying to give, and then they'll buy into your work.